upload this video to show how Zamani performs as a two-piece. So with performing as a two-piece, there comes a little bit of trickiness in terms of getting a live audio, especially for the bass guitar backing tracks. And in this tutorial, I'm going to basically show how I utilize in-ear monitors, a digital audio interface, and a MacBook Pro, how I could use a metronome and live backing tracks, and also create an in-ear monitor mix for myself when I play, and I don't have to rely on any mixes provided from a sound guy. I wanted to create a system where I could fully control all sounds of the band, meaning bass guitar, lead guitar, vocals, and bass guitar, and also hear my bass drum and metronome. The cool part is with this setup, I could actually adjust the volume level to any of my liking, and I also can tell the sound guy to completely kill the wedge. There's less stage noise for us on stage when we perform, and I actually have everything running through my personal mixer. Without further ado, let's go. So here we have our gear list. If you'd like to pause the video at any time, you can. I strongly recommend it. So now to the tutorial. So this is the Steinberg audio interface that I use, and this is the Mackie personal mixer that I use, the 4-channel mixer, and I have Velcro on top of the Steinberg so things don't move, as you can see there. So I place that on top. Next thing we have is a 1/4 inch to 1/4 inch TRS cable, and this is the cable that I use to run from the interface directly into my personal mixer. So I split the signal stereo. I'll explain that later. Now I connect the USB cord from the interface to the laptop. Can't forget the power adapter for the personal mixer. So I have 3 microphone cables. 2 of them are 25 feet. The other is 6 feet. My 4th cable is a TRS 1/4 inch to XLR male. The next is a SM57 that I use to connect directly to my bass drum. So I'll run a microphone cable, put it into my bass drum, and then run it back, and I'll use that as my first input on my personal mixer. So it'll go into channel 1 as so. The next 2 things is I have 2 splitters. So it has an input and 2 outputs. It's an XLR splitter. I will use one for a vocal mic and the other for a guitar cab to split the signal. So I'll run the input all the way directly to the cab. So I'll use both splitters to run the signal directly to the boxes, and then I'll show you later, I'll have 2 outputs that will go directly into my personal mixer. So that's my second microphone cable, 25 feet, and then I'll put it in the input, and then I'll run it directly to the microphone itself. This is the most important piece. It is a 1/4 inch TRS to XLR male, 25 feet. So I'll run it directly from the interface, and then with the other end, I'll either run it to a snake or directly into a bass amp. The next piece is a 1/4 inch TRS to XLR female, and I will pull from both outputs of my splitter into my personal mixer into channels 3 and 4. And with both remaining outputs on both of the splitters, I will run them directly to the snake or front of house, as you can see there. For my in-ear monitors, I will use a 3.5mm adapter into 1/4 inch, so I'll stick it into the headphone jack there. And then I'll plug a 3.5mm extension cable 10 feet with my in-ear monitors. So as you can see there, I have all 4 channels being used. With channels 1 and 2, I could directly adjust the volume knobs, and channels 3 and 4 will share one volume knob. The last thing to do here is to boot up my Ableton Live program to run my backing tracks and to use my metronome. So I'll open the session, select the output as the Steinberg interface, and then I will run each track to make sure that it's coming into my mixer. So here's how I send out the signal. I'll send out the bass guitar stereo, and I will send out the metronome on the left-hand side. And with this, the front of house will not be able to pick up the metronome. I will only hear it through my in-ear monitors. The signal is being properly split, left and right, and the bass guitar goes directly to the front of house. So channel 1 is my bass drum, channel 2 is my backing track and my metronome, and channels 3 and 4 will share a volume knob for vocals and guitar. So there you have it. Thanks for watching.